Another indication of poor timing. I am here representing our working group, which was Jason Coe and Tom Kramer and myself. And if you're familiar with the motion, which I'm going to make a couple of assumptions, which is that you are familiar with the original motion that came to the floor on September 20th. And you will have noticed that there were several areas that kind of broke down Doug's vision that he had brought forth. And part of that was so that we weren't looking at just some singular issues that were causing some of our church's consternation, causing our presbytery to go through some consternation periods, trying to wrestle through how we stay together as a body and yet be true to how we feel that Christ is leading us. And so with not wanting to be isolated, Doug's motion wisely brought together other items. And the first part of that is recognizing that in this process, that all of our churches will benefit from going through a process that helps us delineate our vision, our mission of each of our individual churches so that we can see how that works together corporately as well in a connectional way. And so the first working group, our job was to come up with some ideas that applied to defining and actively pursuing missional purpose. Missional, emerging church seem to be the catchwords of the last couple of years, and how especially the mainline denominations are trying to grab onto a direction that would help us to emerge in a healthy way in our current culture and society that we're in. And so before you are some of our underlying assumptions about our churches collectively in our presbytery, that we would like all churches to be able to go through some type of meaningful process in understanding who they are in a missional sense to their own communities and what their own vision is for their own communities and how they will reach out to the folks that live in their areas. That some churches may not understand the difference between mission and vision, and there's lots of different definitions and lots of ways to do that. But for us to come up with something that we can claim that we all understand as the definition for us, that sometimes you check in, you do a new mission vision statement, and you realize your resources are not even aligned to what the new areas that you want to go. So you have to kind of go through a process of aligning your resources. And that we know that all of our churches are committed to taking the gospel out to our communities. That is an underlying assumption. What really drove us in our group was out of the Book of Order. And you'll see it listed here under 1, the bullet point 1, F1.01b, God's mission and foundation. And I'll let you all read that to yourselves when you have an opportunity. But that was really the driving focus, that we wanted to really get down to what was basic for our churches. And given that, we would like for churches to evaluate their own mission and vision statements, to clarify those so that they are useful in the ministry that you are doing in your own areas. Having sessions really wrestle with this and ask the questions about how their resources are aligned. And having the SET's Healthy Congregations Network come alongside some of these churches and assist in this process. Because this is really a process that will really help, I believe, churches discern to their denominational affiliation, how do they fit into the big picture? And if at the end of all of this, we have some congregations that feel as though they need to align differently in another reformed body, it will assist us in how we can stay together, connected, churches to churches, reformed body to reformed body, and continue the ministry and mission that we have so enjoyed doing together. And so that is the goal, the direction, the point of working group number 1.
Thanks, Lisa.